Next, Russell gets into knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to formulate, establish a philosophy starting with his own sense data and working from that. So he's, starts by saying, you can't doubt your immediate sense data, but you may be able to doubt the cause of the sense data, that which is causing it. The table may or may not exist, but my sense data I can't deny because I'm presently acquainted with. It's in my field of experience, my sensation, so I can't deny it. But he's trying to establish a philosophy based on that. So, he starts off with what he's acquainted with. He's acquainted with memory, which would be his only link to past events. He's acquainted with his current sense data, like of seeing the sun. He questions whether or not there is a self that's a permanent self, although there would have to be some self as that which is seeing the sun, that which is experiencing the sense data. But he also says he has direct experience of universals such as brightness or brotherhood or diversity, similarity. These are universals that you have acquaintance with through your thought. And so he's just going through trying to establish, and not to get into his philosophy of descriptions and names and stuff, but just to point out that he's trying to grasp through his experiences of the real world and establish what does and doesn't exist in such a way that he can prove it to other people. That he can establish it as an objective fact. That's what he's reaching for. And so he's trying to work his way from his mental state that only he experiences to the external world that other people experience, and how you can establish these things. And it's interesting what he does go through as far as working through his thought process of how you directly are acquainted with certain things, and then other things you're only acquainted with it by description, such as historical figures and whatnot, and how you build a hierarchy of these sense data as well as a hierarchy of descriptions, from the people who are closestly acquainted with a person to propositions about that person that you may never have met. And so he gets into that, but for our point and for our perspective here is from a presuppositional standpoint is what we're looking at is not can you work your way through these thoughts, and can you just establish a system of thought, but how is it possible? What are the preconditions that are necessary in order for you to be able to even think in the first place? And so we would assert that Russell is assuming that his sense data can be trusted to an extent. He's assuming that rationality applies to his sense data, and that causation is which he gets into in the next chapter. But causation is something that exists, that is necessary for him to experience sense data. And so there are all these preconditions of thought, these preconditions that have to be true in order for you to validate your experience, your sense data, your ability to reason, that there would even be a material world that you could be looking for. And so all these other things that he's trying to establish, you have to start with these that's what transcendental would mean, these necessary in order for thought to occur. And as we said before, if you don't start with the Christian God, you're starting with your own mind, which ultimately leaves you in subjectivism. It's just what you experience, your sense data. But how to assert that there are universal laws that apply to a material objective world you need to appeal to the Christian God. You need to appeal to the Christian framework in order for this to be. So we're not so much concerned here about how he works through these problems, although it's interesting, but the fact that he has to assume certain things in order to even begin his procedure. And what we're saying is that to begin the procedure of working through knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description, you have to assume the things that can only be assumed in the Christian faith. You know, that, as we've stated in our other videos, that the universal omnipotent God who made us in his image is the God of the objective material world and has given us dominion over it. And this is what accounts for how we can think in the first place, how we can work through our thoughts, how we can have introspection. And even mentions that animals are familiar with sense data, but they're not apparently familiar with the fact that they're familiar with sense data, or that they're acquainted with sense data. They just experience the sense data and respond. But man seems to be above that. Man seems to have some higher created consciousness than the animals do. And so again, all these things make sense in the Christian framework, but they don't make sense if you just start with yourself and you try to work your way towards the external world, because ultimately you're assuming that your soul, your mind, is the mediator between what is real and what's not real, instead of the Christian God. Jesus Christ is the one mediator between God and reality, God and man, the one that God sent to mediate and to advocate for us and to bring us to God. But if we reject Christ, we substitute our own minds as that point of mediation, and ultimately it's going to end in skepticism. And so we just want to keep pressing that as we work through these things. It's important to recognize this.